Hi, I'm Michael Smith for Nevada Trails. Tonight I have a very special show. I have Gene Norman here to talk about winter trek with the Forest Service, and I saw some of the articles in the newspaper, and I wish I was there. You went up a mountain and brought many fifth graders with snowshoes and just learned about wildlife, I believe.
Right, it's an environmental education program for fifth grade curriculum, and so teachers like to go on field trips, but their principals only give them a thumbs up when it's educational and it fits in with their curriculum. So we try to accommodate both Nevada and California state standards. And basically what it is, it's a 3-hour program. It starts in mid-January, right after Martin Luther King's birthday, and goes all the way through the end of March. We've been doing it for 20 years now. The kids come up in bus, or if you have to, private vehicles fine too. And they drop them off near the transit center near the Heavenly Ski Resort area. We do a little PowerPoint introductory program, give them free tickets to go up the gondola. That's always nice. A lot of kids
sounds fun right there.
Never even been on the gondola. Again, because it's educational, Heavenly accommodates us. And so we go up to Mid-Station, do a brief talk there on geology and a few other science-related topics, and then take them to the last stop at the top of the hill where they receive their snowshoes.
Oh, no.
And
Those
learn
are
how to
awesome.
put them on, and then we go snowshoeing. So these are, if you will, old-fashioned snowshoes, and so it teaches the kids a little bit about the evolution of the snowshoe as compared to a current-day, more modern one. And the main reason we use these actually over the modern ones is because you'll notice there's no cleats on the back. If you can picture 30 fifth graders frolicking in the snow with these things flailing in the air, you don't want to have cleats because you'll have a lot of injuries. And so these safety-wise really work out best for us.
In my world, they called it football.
So the kids learn how to put on their own snowshoes and listen. Directions and whatnot are always important in every grade, and so they learn how to put their foot in halfway through the window, so when you walk through the snow you can grip, and so those are kind of like your cleats, how you dig into the snow when you're going uphill. So the kids learn about all the different choices that animals make in the wintertime, and that would be either, if you're an animal, would you choose to sleep through the winter? Would you choose to leave town, known as migration? Or would you choose to change in some way or adapt and survive the winter? So the focus of the program is on those adapters and how they adapt through the winter.
Well, it's pretty awesome. When I came up here about 7 years ago, the birds to me are bigger and larger, and the crows are more bigger and larger and aggressive. The blue jays are more aggressive, and they're like I say, they're bigger. I couldn't believe how big these birds were. So they can survive up here, and the small ones got to get down the hill, I guess.
Right. Those are primarily, the birds are chosen migrators. Mm-hmm. The Steller jays, which most people are familiar with up in Lake Tahoe, they choose to head down to a lower elevation where it's warmer. The ravens that we have in Tahoe, for the most part, they head down. Now, they're not crows. Crows and ravens don't overlap their habitat, and crows are typically down at a lower elevation in the Central Valley. So those large blackbirds we have in Tahoe are ravens, and they have kind of a hooked beak, and that's really a distinguishing characteristic to them compared to a crow. So those are the primary migrators. Now, Michael, what kind of hibernators do we have on the hill?
I would not know.
All right.
I would guess a snake, or
a snake would be a good guess.
I would guess. I would not say bear, because obviously we know that they do not hibernate.
Aren't you smart?
Yes.
Most adults don't know that.
I asked the question earlier because I was so smart about bears hibernating in the woods, and they do not hibernate. Evidently, they take a little nap for about 9 to 5, and they get up and have babies or something.
Okay, what you're referring to is torpor. Torpor, T-O-R-P-O-R. And most adults in our generation were taught in school that bears hibernate, and they have since learned that's not really accurate. They experience something that's kind of a milder form of true hibernation, and they'll go to sleep, yes, and they'll bulk up on food in the fall. That's all true. They get fatter, which of course the fat helps keep them warm, and it's also they use for food throughout the winter. But what's different with a bear who experiences torpor is he feels his environment, and he can, his temperature of his body is a lot warmer than a true hibernator. So take a snake or a ground squirrel. You can feel them in your hands in the wintertime, and they don't feel you. And they're ice cold, almost the same temperature as their environment. As opposed to a black bear that lives up in Tahoe, these guys will fall asleep with all that fat on them, feel nice and cozy and warm, but if the weather gets warm, they'll wake up wander around out in the snow and determine, well, is it time to get up? No, it isn't, and they'll go back. And the mother bears give birth in February, in the middle of winter. A true hibernator can't do that because you have to be able to feel to give birth. Sorry, mothers,
Well,
this is the way it is, right?
Well, actually, I think we did a bear special. We had problems with bears that they blended on water. The bears were coming down the hill looking for water and food.
Right.
And then I just thought they said they didn't eat enough to forage to sleep. So I guess I got my facts wrong. But they were down in Gardnerville, getting people's trash. And they were talking about getting trash-proof bear, trash cans in Gardnerville. That's pretty far away.
So we're talking wintertime, or are we talking summertime?
This was wintertime. So that's why I said about hibernation. I'm all confused what's going on. So they just said that they just didn't have enough water. It was a dry season or something like that.
Yeah, in the summertime, when the streams dry up in Tahoe, they'll come down to lower elevation and scrounge for food. In the wintertime, if you see a bear down in Gardnerville, that would be very unusual.
Very unusual.
Very unusual. They're
Yeah.
usually sleeping through the winter. As opposed to a bear in a zoo, they keep feeding them so they don't go through torpor so that they'll be awake for the visitors. So as long as food is readily available, why go to sleep, right?
Yeah.
So it's a chosen strategy. So
It works for me.
yeah, I'd like to sleep through the winter sometimes.
Well, yeah.
So again, bears experience torpor, which is a milder form of hibernation. And a good example of true hibernators would be, like you said, snakes or ground squirrels. Now, here's another tricky one. If you were a tree squirrel living in the tree with the big fluffy tail, or a ground squirrel with a skinny little tail living underground, one is a hibernator, the other is a adapter. So tree squirrels are active in the wintertime. And again, distinguishing characteristic between a ground squirrel and a tree squirrel would be how fluffy their tail is. So,
Well, is it the small squirrel or the big squirrel? I missed you.
well, actually, there's two main varieties of squirrels that are tree squirrels. There's the chicory with a redder chest, and he's kind of small, but he has a real big voice. He makes a lot of complaints when you get anywhere near. Here's food source, might probably a pine cone. And then the gray squirrel, which is really a huge squirrel with a big plumey tail. Both of those are tree squirrels.
Because I used to clean the boathouse, and they had squirrels living up in the rafters, and they would used to chuck walnuts down at people. And it was like their turf during the winter, and then they didn't like us cleaning up the place in the summer for shows.
Right, right,
So they didn't really hibernate because they had the boathouse.
right.
Because they could find food too, I
They
guess.
could find food maybe, yeah.
So they didn't need to hibernate. So I wasn't sure if they was.
Or it could have been a tree squirrel that was supposed to be awake all winter. I mean, if you didn't catch sight of them, who knows?
Well, yeah, they were small though,
They were
little guys.
small.
Yeah.
Probably, it could have been a chicory. It's hard to say without looking at them. Yep.
But they were really beautiful, little guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I like the Forest Service area. Valhalla and the boathouse, and walk around there.
Right.
It's probably really pretty right now.
Well, there's a lot of beautiful places out there right now up in Tahoe. So it's whether it's spring, summer, winter, or fall, it's a beautiful time to come to Tahoe. And in the wintertime when we have all that snow, that's when the kids like to come up and experience winter trek at the top of Heavenly and understand what these animals are doing in the winter, because you really have to start thinking, if you were an animal, you couldn't have a coat, you don't have a fireplace, you have to learn to survive. If you're a chosen adapter, you have to figure out how to do it, basically.
Well, at night it drops down pretty cold, and you said
Exactly.
something about earlier. About 750 kids did your this last year.
Yeah, so between 700 and 750 kids, usually annually, is what we bring up to Heavenly and take them on snowshoeing. And it's one fifth grade class per day.
So you pretty much target fifth grade classes then.
It's just fifth grade primarily, physical strengths and again, curriculum based.
So if you're a teacher and you want to get in line for this program, you should call you at what number? Or
Well, the best way to get a hold of me at the Forest Service is 530-543-2694. Now, in giving you that phone number, mid-December would be the soonest that you can give me a call. And then I will get you all set in the book, sign you up, and then mid-January is when the program actually begins.
so you can adapt now and adjust.
Right, exactly. And I do send out invitation letters to all the fifth grade teachers throughout Carson Valley, Carson City, Reno, up in Tahoe. I mean, it's a wide area, so I send out hundreds of these in the beginning of December. So if you're a fifth grade teacher and you never got one of those, give me a call and I'll get you educated and get you the information.
Well, it's absolutely beautiful, the pictures going by, and you said the sponsors are Heavenly and the Tahoe Heritage Foundation are the sponsors for this outfit?
Right. We have the Forest Service, who actually presents the program,
Yeah.
myself. We have Heavenly Ski Resort, who helps with the gondola tickets and, of course, using the land. I should mention the land is Forest Service, and
Yeah,
Heavenly
exactly.
Ski Resort is a special use permittee. So we're friends that work together to make it work.
A lot of people don't realize that.
Right. A
Just
lot
for-
of the lands on ski resorts are Forest Service lands. That's really a general statement, but for the most part, it is true. And then the third entity that makes Winter Trek work is our nonprofit, and those folks, Tahoe Heritage Foundations, are the ones responsible for purchasing the snowshoes.
Oh,
We
these
have
are
about
awesome.
35 of them, and those wood snowshoes aren't cheap, and so they do eventually break, and we have to repair them. I should mention there is a minor fee involved with this for the students. It's $2 per student, and the chaperones, teachers, there's no fee for them because they help supervise. And most kids can come up with $2 for a special type of environmental education program like this.
Actually, I have a 5th grade niece. It probably would slow her down a little bit all day long.
They come back a little
I
bit
could-
tired.
I could
They
use
do.
this.
They do.
That's a-
Because the program itself, the kids are snowshoeing for about close to an hour, and part of that they're eating lunch in the snow to rejuvenate them a little bit. But that's why we choose 5th graders, because you have to physically be able to get through the snow. If you pick a child that's smaller, you won't be able to go for a whole hour at the pace that we take them.
So you get up there and you feed them as well.
Well, they bring their own bag lunch. We don't feed them. But what we
okay.
do offer at the very end of the program is we go back to the Explore Tahoe location, which is like a visitor center there at the Heavenly Complex, and we have hot cocoa waiting for them. And that is always a big hit. I mean, kids love cocoa. You cannot go wrong.
So you go up for you take the gondola up to the first level. In this place you
Mid-station.
take mid-station, take pictures, and get the views. And some of the views I saw were absolutely phenomenal.
Oh, yeah, you can't beat the
And
views.
then you get to the next level, and you go for how long of a hike is that?
That's about a half mile to 3/4 mile loop. So in distance, it's not a lot, but we do take them up a hill. And if the snow is real soft, each step takes a lot of energy. So it's about an hour in length as far as on the snow. And that's usually about maximum for 5th grade.
Now, do you have a particular person in charge for to teach them about trees or animals, or do you do it all?
Yeah, myself and my cohort, Lindsay, we're the 2 rangers. We always have 2 for safety, one person bringing the kids on the lead, and then another ranger bringing up the rear so we don't lose any kids. We like to tell them we haven't lost any yet. And it is an environmental education program, so we discuss things like how to identify animal tracks. It might be bear footprints, squirrels. You think again of the adapters. That makes them remember from class, which they get a pre-visit packet, about what kind of animals that we could see. Or if they're shy, we might not see them. We'd only see their tracks. So tree squirrels, coyotes, American marten, which is a real weasel-like animal, and he's a carnivore with real sharp teeth, and sometimes he eats the squirrels, and we'll find remnants of birds or squirrels in the snow from the marten or the coyote, and as I already mentioned, the black bear tracks. So they learn to identify the tracks. They learn how to identify potential habitat for these animals. As we mentioned before, they have to learn how to survive in the winter. So they have to learn the habitat. We talk about why snow is important. A lot of people don't understand the importance of snow. Maybe currently people have been thinking about water shortages and realize, well, water comes from snow. We don't have enough snow. We don't have enough water. So there's a lot of different topics we discuss.
Well, it sounds pretty darn exciting. I want to tag along because obviously Miss Teen lied to me in 5th grade about hibernating
Well,
bears.
me too.
Well, anyways, we're gonna take a short break, and we come back. Jean's gonna tell me more about Winter Trek, and we'll be right back. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Fish and Game Warden Patrick Foy. Boaters at Lake Tahoe should expect watercraft inspections at all launch sites around the lake. These inspections are designed to prevent the destructive spread of zebra and quagga mussels as well as other aquatic invasive species. If brought into Lake Tahoe, invasive species will damage boats and the pristine waters and be impossible to remove. Remember to clean, drain, and dry your boat every time before entering a new body of water. Clean boats stop aquatic hitchhikers.
What lies beyond the curve in the trail? What secrets are there? My feet carry me into its veiled mystery, and I want to taste the sweet air and hear the song bestowed by nature. Just this once. Until the next curve, the next trail, the next walk through the Carson Valley. The Genoa Foothill Trail System will connect the Carson Valley with the Tahoe Rim Trail, providing a wonderful trail system near the oldest town in Nevada. This is just one of many projects the Carson Valley Trails Association is working on for our communities, but we cannot do it alone. Please contact us by visiting our website and find out about becoming a member or signing up to help build our community trails. We're looking forward to seeing you out in the most beautiful land Nevada has to offer.
Hi, we're back from break with Jean Norman of the Forest Service, and I want her job.
Can't have it.
She won't
It's
let me have her
mine.
job. She's just saying that the Winter Trek is in its 5th year, and I just think it's great to take the gondola up there with that view. And as a kid, you have to be awestruck about it. You just have to be
And
of what nature is.
you'd be amazed how many kids we get from areas that they're disadvantaged and they've never even been to Tahoe, number one. They've never been on a gondola, number two. They've never snowshoed. And so we have no discipline problems. These kids are just having such a phenomenal time. It's true that we've been using the Heavenly site for the last 5 years, but prior to that, for 15 years prior to that, so it's been a total of 20 years for Winter Trek, we used the site over at Valhalla. And it was a beautiful location, snowshoeing along the shoreline there, all public lands. But the problem was you couldn't depend on Mother Nature. If we didn't have a really good season for snow, there'd be plenty of snow at the top of the mountain, but not down at lake level. And so when we came up with the concept of working with Heavenly, they jumped at it. I mean, they said, of course, environmental education, come on up. And so this relationship we have with Heavenly is probably going to be continue for many years to come, because as long as we have a great partner like Heavenly and we have the Forest Service there, I mean, we're not going anywhere. Why would we stop? We've had teachers that have been coming for 15, 17 years that this is what they look forward to every single year is Winter Trek.
Mm-hmm.
And the kids realized from their teacher's energy that this is something really cool and they better not blow it.
Well, I remember reading the article in the newspaper, and it's like, I want to go, and I was just bummed that it was like the last time you guys were doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But the article had it where you're hitting trails that you're actually seeing all these tracks of Mother Nature,
Right.
bears and coyotes, and the real deal.
Mm-hmm.
And I forget what age I was when I saw my first bear track, but it wakes you up.
Yeah,
And if it's fresh, it really wakes you up.
Oh yeah, how big their feet are.
Yeah.
I mean, they're big round footprints, and they walk pigeon-toed.
Yeah.
So it's like dun 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 dun. This year, the only day we saw actual bear tracks in the snow was the last day of Winter Trek.
Oh.
It was like, come on out. But what we do see are bear scratch marks, because bears, as I mentioned, experience torpor. They wake up throughout the winter and they stake out their territory. Since they don't urinate or defecate throughout the winter, they have to do it in other means. They use their claws. They scratch the trees, and of course, sap oozes out, and so they're very easy to find. And the kids love seeing how far apart those claws are. They can tell how big that paw is that left these scratch marks on the tree. So the program, again, kind of gears the kids into using their identification skills like vision and hearing. And so the entire program, you keep cueing them to say, okay, would this be good habitat for an animal? What do you think these animal tracks are? I mean, who made these tracks? Why is it going from tree to tree? Maybe it's an arboreal animal, an animal that lives in a tree. So you're constantly making them aware of their surroundings and trying to take the information they've already grasped from the classroom, since they do get pre-visit information from us, and take it one step further in the habitat that they're walking through and say, oh, I get it now. And that's how you really reinforce concepts, is going on these field trips. Sure, you're sitting in the classroom setting, you remember some of it, but when you're actually out there, now it all clicks. It all makes sense.
Well, I would think so. If you see a scratch marks on a tree with sap running,
yeah.
you know that bear was there just shortly before.
Exactly.
Or
exactly.
You probably actually see animals as well, I bet.
On occasion, the mountain chickadee, known as the cheeseburger bird, who goes, cheeseburger. Well, he doesn't actually
Goes
say
what?
cheeseburger. Okay, let me get my whistle.
No fries?
together. Here we go. This is the cheeseburger bird. He's known as the cheeseburger bird because that is his mating call in the springtime. But remember, we're up on the mountain in the winter. So their call in the winter is different. It sounds like their name, chickadee. Chick, chick, chickadee, chickadee, chick, chick, chickadee. So they listen for the chickadee call. And I tell the kids, if you really want to confuse the birds, go ahead and use their mating call and do the cheeseburger call. And sometimes the kids forget and they just go, cheeseburger, cheeseburger. I was like, no, that doesn't work. That doesn't work. I personally saw an American martin, which is the weasel-like animal, about 5 years ago. So it was the first season we're there. Very shy animal. He was running behind the trees, kind of playing peekaboo, watching us from a distance. Long, slinky animal. I haven't seen one since, but I have seen their footprints in the snow. They leave kitty cat-like footprints, so they're very identifiable. And they're long, slinky animals, so there's a great distance between their front feet and their back feet, and they bound with their feet together, so they're side by side. So again, a lot of these kind of characteristics you point out to the students so that they, again, can remember this. So then the next time they go on a snowshoe trip, maybe with their parents, they can take it one step further and educate their parents, which of course kids love doing.
Well, not educate their parents, but maybe someday educate their kids as well. I just think it's just phenomenal. I'm picturing how you're sending me to the places you're talking about. I'm there going, this is awesome.
Oh, it's fabulous.
I'm just in awe, and the history. It's been going on for 5 years, so hopefully we can get some more teachers to keep this thing going. And I don't know, I'm just very proud of you. So you're the lead person doing all this education.
Yes, I'm the Winter Trek coordinator, so I'm really the contact person for people who are interested in coming up. And as far as do I need more teachers? I need more winter days because there really is a limited amount of spots. But we do it every single day, Monday through Friday, for 2.5 months. And then we have Mother Nature. If it's a really windy day, the gondola doesn't run.
Okay,
and
yeah.
if the gondola doesn't run, we kind of coordinate with the teachers in the morning and say, the weather's forecasting high winds that we might not be able to go up. And so then we try to reschedule. And in most cases we can. There were some occasions this past season we were not able to reschedule, and talk about the disappointment. It's like, I want all these kids to have this experience because this is something they're going to remember the rest of their lives. I mean, for the most of them, they're just like so awestruck at the whole 3 hours they're with us. In fact, to demonstrate that, I'd like to read a couple of thank you notes.
Oh yeah, that's
from some of the students.
That's proof in the pudding as well.
You never know what's going to come out of these kids' mouths.
Well, kids say the darndest things. So
Exactly.
I don't know what they're going to say here. Let's find out.
Okay, dear Ranger, Jean, and Lindsay, thank you for allowing us to come to Heavenly. Like we allowed them. Right, okay, good. Snowshoeing is so much fun. I hope that I can come back with my family. I hope that you are all safe and when you are snowshoeing and get a lot more customers in the upcoming months. I guess the kids are customers. I like that remark. It was really cool seeing the animal tracks and the animal furs. I didn't mention that we have animal furs or skins at the end of the program when they're having their hot cocoa, and those are some of the animal adapter skins, and we talk about how they adapt. I hope that you guys get a ton of snow so that the other classes can have a good time too. Thanks, Claire.
Well, that's a nice letter.
Yes, these kids are just fantastic.
How much did you pay her? Is that your daughter or cousin? Or?
No. You want me to read one more?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's honest. This is honest bottom line.
Right out of the kids' mouths. They really have a fantastic time. Dear Rangers, Jean and Lindsay, thank you so much for taking the class and I on Winter Trek at Heavenly. It was the greatest field trip ever. The best part of the trip definitely was hiking through the trees. One of our helpers kept on rattling the trees in front of me with her ski poles and slathering me with tree plop. We told the kids when the snow falls from the tree, we call it snow plop. I don't think that's a technical term, but the kids love that.
Actually, what is the technical term? You told me earlier.
Snow plop? No.
No, the tree, and there was an Indian name.
Oh. What we were mentioning earlier was when there's frosty snow on the pine needles, the Washoe and other tribes in the area refer to it as pogo nip. And so that's one of the vocabulary words we give the kids as well.
It sounded good to me.
Right. Okay, I laughed the upcoming Friday night when we learned that we had epic proportion snow up at Heavenly. The Weather Channel even featured this. I went like, whoa. One day was just the best, and I will remember this day for the rest of my life. Thank you.
Oh, wow.
So,
that's a good one, too.
Oh, yeah. Well, I won't go on. But
just do one more.
I just love the
Just
praise
one
we get from
more.
these kids. Yes, I'll pat myself on the back some more. Here we go. Rangers, Jean, and Lindsay, thank you very much for taking us snowshoeing and giving us hot chocolate afterwards. Like I said, on hot cocoa, the kids always remember that. It was educational and fun at the same time, which is good. I still remember how the California Great Basin was made. They're talking about Lake Tahoe Basin. Plate tectonics, volcanic action, and lastly, glaciers. And kids learn better in sets of 3. And so we focus when we're on the mid-station sets of 3, like the 3 states of water, of H2O, water vapor, and snow, and we talk about what we can see all three at the mid-station. And then glacier.
Excellent,
And
yeah.
then geology, we talk about the 3 geologic events that formed Lake Tahoe Basin, which of course you know.
Not a clue. No, I always, this is going to sound dumb, but I always thought God just kind of went like this and took a scoop of out and kind of created it. And that's, well, I'm up there. I think I know it's
It's
not,
beautiful.
it's just that beautiful to me.
It's just beautiful.
I know it's not thing you can't teach kids.
I know, it's just.
But it looks like to me it's like just a scoop to me. And then, but obviously there were some major things happening with there. But to be able to go up there as a
Yep.
with your experience and your education to be able to teach kids,
Yeah.
because it's not like a book. A book can't explain things.
No, in fact, when we're up there at Midstation teaching the kids about this, we have the general public just come up and they want to listen too, and they're going, "Oh, I didn't know that." So yeah, everybody seems to benefit from the program.
That's what I want to do. I'm going to join you next time. And 750 kids, that's just phenomenally how much the Forest Service does. Every time I talk to you, you open up another chapter of how much you work. I mean, and your education must be phenomenal because you're talking about animals and snow and geology and trees and nature and
Do a lot of
climate
reading.
and
You do a lot of reading, and you go to the source, because in the Forest Service, like other agencies, you have specialists in different areas, and so you do some reading and then you go to the source to kind of learn about some more particular things that you should know about the area, and then we incorporate that into the programs in a passionate way so the kids get all jazzed about it.
well, you certainly do.
Good, glad to hear
Well,
it.
your education background is phenomenal. And you've been with the Forest Service about 7 years, you said?
About 7 years, and then I worked for the Park Service for 10 years for a while, yeah. So.
Well, you're just definitely a perfect job for the right time and the right place. And you're going to do it again next year too, right?
Oh yes, there's no plans to stop. Like I said, as long as we have Heavenly Ski Resort and you have the Forest Service up there, there'd be no reason why we'd stop. It's very
And
well
they've already
received.
agreed to keep it going.
Oh yes. Andrew Streen is one of the main coordinators at Heavenly, and this is his baby. He just loves it. It's part of what makes Heavenly shine, in his opinion, is having this environmental education program. So there'd be no reason for us to stop. So 5th grade teachers, start calling.
That's what I was going to say. I'm looking at the pictures. You got the letters and then the education. I'm learning a lot right now. I'm thinking I'm so embarrassed. I don't know if I lost any information or just coming to a new area, but. From the pictures and your education, I'm going to have you back again because I don't have time to repeat 5th grade. I already did once. That's slow. But anyways, is there any more else we want to talk about this particular event?
Oh gosh, Heavenly is fabulous. So I'd just like to tell 5th grade teachers, if you haven't done it, your kids will benefit times 10. I mean, it's something that they will remember. So if you haven't done it, you have to give us a call. I love seeing the impact it has on 5th graders and the chaperones. And I must tell you, there's a limit in the amount of chaperones can come because everybody wants to come. So we usually have the teacher and then 2 or 3 chaperones depending on the class size. So get your name in the hat fast with those.
So
those teachers.
you're saying only about 2 or 3 parents can go.
Exactly, right. Unless there's some special needs and have to have special ed, teachers or something. Those adults aren't counted. But when we actually put on the snowshoes, we need additional adult helpers to help the students because it can be difficult at times, and we have to kind of move the program along at a good pace so that they can see everything. And so we need those adult chaperones.
Well, I'm trying to figure out if you have about 25 kids, how you can have. You needed some help putting on their snowshoes.
Well,
These
the
are
kids-
big. These are giant.
The students, are, again, part of being a 5th grader is listening to directions and being able to do it.
Well, yeah,
So
you're mature at that age.
You're,
enough to-
you're mature enough to do it. But if these straps are frozen, because they do keep them at the top of the mountain, if they're frozen, trying to manipulate these straps when they're frozen can be a major challenge. And then sliding your foot in so your toes halfway through the window. Sometimes they go too far, not far enough. We don't want the kids walking out of the snowshoe straps because then you have to stop and help them. So doing it right the first time is very critical.
Well, these are well made, so I don't think that's
yes.
the problem at all.
Yeah, Iverson does a good job putting these together. So it's a fantastic program. The kids learn a lot. Like I said, the PowerPoint presentation in the beginning. They have pre-visit information they learn in the classroom setting. I didn't mention when they go up the gondola, we have a scavenger hunt, and it kind of keeps them focused on all the main concepts of the Winter Trek program. So why the needle's short down at higher elevation versus long needle trees at lower elevation makes them think, why would that be? Looking for animal tracks and why it goes from one tree to the next. Anyway, so they're using their identification skills again as they're going up the gondola rather than just focusing on, oh, this is cool, this is fun, because it's supposed to be educational.
Oh, well, to tell you, Gene, we ran out of time again. You've got to come back. And if you're a 5th grade teacher, what's your number to call?
530-543-2694.
And thank you again about telling us about Winter Trek, and I hope to see you soon for Salmon Fest.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome, Michael.
Michael Smith for Nevada Trails.